After finishing college, four friends decided to celebrate their new freedom with one last summer adventure, a camping trip in the high plains of Wyoming. They packed their gear, loaded up their car, and hit the open road, chasing that feeling of being young, wild, and completely free. When they arrived, the area was silent. Endless grasslands, rocky hills, and the kind of open sky that made you feel small. It was beautiful, but also strangely isolating. They parked by the plateau and started climbing, joking around as the sun dipped lower. Hours passed. The air turned cooler, the shadows longer. They were just starting to head back when one of them noticed a red pickup truck pull up near their car. It stopped. No one got out. It just sat there. At first they thought maybe it was another camper, but then the man inside started moving, checking their car, looking through the windows. One of the guys shouted from above, but the man didn't react. He just stood there, hand resting on the driver's door. Something felt off. They started rushing down, yelling for him to back away. The man turned, stared up at them for a long, cold second, then climbed into his truck and drove off down the dirt road. Relieved, they laughed it off. But when they reached the car, they noticed deep scratches along the handle, like someone had been trying to pry it open. Night came fast. They tried to shake it off, but that uneasy feeling wouldn't leave. Around midnight, the sound of an engine echoed through the dark. Headlights flashed across the tent walls. That same red truck. Before they could react, a man's voice called out. Calm, slurred, but firm. Get out here, now. They froze. Then a gunshot cracked the silence. Dirt kicked up near the tent. One of them screamed. They bolted into the night, hiding among the rocks. The man ransacked their camp, tore through their supplies, and left with their phones, wallets, everything. When morning came, they hiked until they found help. The police searched the area, but the man and his red truck were gone. To this day, none of them ever found out who he was, or how long he'd been watching them before he made his move. My sister and I were driving cross-country, one of those long road trips you dream about for years. Endless highways, open skies, bad gas station coffee, the whole deal. Somewhere near the New Mexico border, our GPS signaled a shortcut that would shave off an hour. It led us down a narrow 2-lane road cutting straight through the desert. For miles we didn't see another car, just sand and the occasional rusted sign half buried in the dirt. Eventually, our gas light came on, and we decided to stop at the first place we found. That turned out to be a small, rundown station. A faded sign that barely read, "Fuel and Snacks." The moment we pulled in, something felt off. The place was empty. No music, no humming lights, just the sound of the wind. Inside, the air was thick and stale. A man behind the counter looked up slowly as we entered. His eyes lingered too long, like he was sizing us up. When I asked for directions to the highway, he smiled in this odd way and said, "You'll want to take the back road, just follow it until you see the hills. Don't worry if it looks like you're going the wrong way." Something about the way he said it didn't sit right. My sister squeezed my arm, whispering that we should just stick to the GPS. But when we got back in the car, the GPS froze. Every road we turned down looped back to the same intersection. The same old motel. The same closed diner. It felt impossible, like the whole town was wrapped around itself. Finally, another car appeared. An old SUV. The driver, a man in his 40s, rolled down his window and asked where we were headed. When we told him, his face went pale. "That back road the clerk told you about. Don't take it. Locals call it the cutoff. People go missing out there. Cartel territory." He pointed us to another exit and said to keep driving until we hit the interstate. We thanked him and didn't look back. A few miles later, we passed the dirt turnoff the clerk had mentioned. No signposts, just emptiness. But as we drove by, I swear I saw headlights flicker deep in that darkness. Like someone waiting for us to turn in. We never found that town again on any map. Last summer, my girlfriend and I were backpacking across Europe. Cheap hostels, trains, and long walks through cities we couldn't pronounce. By the time we reached Rijeka, a small coastal town in Croatia, we were exhausted and starving. The town was beautiful in that quiet, old European way. Narrow streets, peeling pastel walls, sea air carrying the sound of church bells. But something about the place felt heavy. Locals stared a little too long. Conversation stopped when we passed. Still, we shrugged it off. Travelers stick out anywhere, right? As evening settled, we found a small restaurant tucked off a side road. It had no sign, just an open door and the smell of grilled meat drifting into the street. Inside, the lighting was dim, just a few wooden tables and a bar at the back. The bartender, an older man with grey hair, greeted us with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. We ordered quickly, local stew and beer, and sat by the window. A few minutes later, 5 men walked in and took a table across from us. They didn't order. They just watched. At first I thought I was imagining it, but every time I looked up, one of them would look away, smirking. My girlfriend noticed too. She whispered that maybe we should leave, but I didn't want to seem rude or paranoid in a foreign country. When the bartender brought our food, he set the plates down carefully and said quietly, "Eat fast. Then go, don't look back." My stomach dropped. His face didn't change, but there was something urgent in his voice. We didn't ask questions, just nodded. We ate a few bites, left money on the table, and headed for the door. As we stepped outside, I heard one of the men get up behind us. Footsteps followed for a few seconds, then stopped. We turned a corner and ran until we hit the main street, where tourists and lights returned like nothing had happened. To this day, I don't know what would have happened if we'd stayed a little longer, or if that bartender hadn't warned us when he did. So, what do you think? Would you still chase freedom the same way? Knowing what's out there waiting on the open road. Maybe some roads are better left unexplored. If you've ever had a trip that took a dark turn, share your story in the comments. I read every one. And if you want more true horror and survival stories just like these, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because next time the story might not end as safely.